Welcome to the Success Pick and Mix podcast. I'm your host, Nicky Raby, a professional pick and mixer. I'm a personal brand coach, a speaker, an actor, a creator, and a podcaster. I'm on a mission to help you find and create your version of success. Your pick and mix of life and business on your terms. A blend that complements your personality, your goals, and your circumstances. Since 2018, I've been sharing interviews and mini episodes to help you unlock your next step, to make it real and make it happen. Round here, we dream big. We go for the ideal version. We talk about money and make moves our future selves would be proud of. This podcast is free and available for you whenever you need it. So do rate, review, and subscribe for new episodes. If you want to go deeper with my support, check out my freebies house and unlock the rooms you choose. nickyraby.com/freebies house. I also have workshops, programs, and one-on-one bespoke offerings. For prices and availability, go to nickyraby.com. Thank you, as always, for spending some time with me and my guests. Now, on to today's episode. In today's episode, I talked to Hayley Jane Warren, who is, well, she does loads of things. She's firstly a real inspiration in terms of fitness and actually putting on your trainers and getting out into the wilderness. It's always the hardest bit, isn't it? But I want to talk about her transition from the modelling industry into setting up your own gig and starting to monetize a blog and creating a personal brand, and how important it is to work alongside other women and really work in that collaborative state. There'll be loads of really great nuggets from this episode, so grab a piece of paper and a pen as always. If you want to come and join in the conversation, come to Instagram at Nicky Raby. Show notes, nickyraby.com/podcast. And if you want to know more about my coaching, that's where all the coaching and online course stuff is as well. As I always mention, we want to get to 1 million plays by the end of the year, and we're doing so well. The views and the plays are going up every single day. It's so exciting to see. So if you know somebody who would enjoy this kind of content, please share it with them. Like, review, subscribe, all that good stuff over on Instagram. I really appreciate it. And as always, thanks so much for listening and your support. It really warms my heart. So without further ado, here's the episode for today. Hi Hayley, welcome to the podcast.
Hi love, how you doing?
I'm really well, thank you. Thanks so much for chatting on this rather sweaty Thursday afternoon. It's so hot in London today.
No, thanks for having me though.
Oh, you're welcome. Let's start with you and what you do, because you do lots of things.
Oh god, yeah, do you have all day?
Do you have a portfolio career?
From a sort of work point of view. So I always say I'm a full-time blogger, but I actually probably don't blog full-time and I need to. And it kind of covers so much more than that. So I work quite a lot with brands, creating content. A lot of that is from my own channels, but I also work a lot and create content for them where I'm sort of not the subject, which is actually probably more my favourite thing to do, I guess. I do blog. I still do some modelling every now and again, but it's really not my favourite thing to do. And obviously I've just co-founded Get to Know, which is a community for women in the creative industries, or mainly kind of women who actually want to get into the creative industries. I think we sort of market ourselves very much at women who want to take that first step, and we want to try and encourage them. How else do I earn money? It's just so varied, honestly. So varied.
And you work with your man as well. Do you work together, or?
Do you know what? No, we've had a few jobs where, quite hilariously, I've shot the campaign, or I haven't shot it, I've been in the campaign. This was a job for Adidas, and he's actually written the music for the advert.
Oh,
but they were very much separate things. So we would love to do more together. But to be honest, he's just so bloody busy. Trying to pin him down to work on sort of creative projects with me is quite tricky, but I think if we got into YouTube and started doing things like that, he would be a great one, because he's worked in the sort of music, advertising, sound industry for so long, and he really just gets editing.
Yeah, that's always like my stumbling block, when I'm like, oh, how do people make these things look good? It just looks weird.
Of it, like the patience of, I'm not patient enough to learn and do all of that. But...
yeah, it always just feels like it's a science experiment, and you know, it kind of loses my interest. But I guess, how did your career start? Because I guess the things that you're talking about and how you make money now, they weren't necessarily things that the careers advisor put on a plate for you back in...
I think the careers advisor gave up on me. I was a bit of a nightmare as a child, but I guess, so I modelled for like 10 years. I was very adamant that I was leaving school, doing my own thing. I didn't need a traditional education, and I knew it all of that malarkey. And I ended up modelling for like 10 years, and I kind of travelled all over the world, and it sort of came to an end. So I've kind of, this is a bit of a backstory now. I sort of suffered quite a lot with mental health when I was younger, or mental health, and that led to addiction and substance abuse. This is quite, getting quite dark already now. But so I kind of had 10 years of dealing with that, and I knew that it got to a point where modelling had to stop. It wasn't just modelling; it was a situation, a friendship group, etc.
And especially in those industries, like that's championed. That's like a badge of honour. It's like
some of the things. I mean, I've been told, well, can't you just eat lettuce? Or had my body grabbed, and the diet's not going very well. It was horrendous. If I ever had a daughter now, I would be like, you can do anything you want, but that. And I'm sure it's changing a bit, but who knows? So I kind of, after that, I ended up getting the chance to move to Cyprus for a couple of years with a partner of mine at the time. And I really I was there for a couple of years, and I really transformed my life actually in that 2 years. And I started blogging, and I found health and fitness, and I went vegan for 6 months and did that whole thing. And so that's kind of how I started blogging. And it was actually an older blog, a different blog, but I knew I just wanted somewhere to write. I've always loved to write, and I just wanted somewhere to share my ideas and thoughts. And so that's kind of how the blogging side of things started. I stopped that blog after, I don't know, I guess maybe 5 years. This was probably all 2010, I guess.
Did you start it with a view to it being something, or was it just purely something that was quite cathartic at the time?
Yeah, no, I don't think I actually knew it could be anything. Do
you remember those days? That's bizarre.
Yeah, exactly. And it was. I mean, God, if I look back at my old blog, it's laughable, but it's quite good, because I feel like I made a lot of my mistakes on there, which is helpful. But no, I don't think I ever really thought that. I mean, I've always been very open-minded to career paths, and I've always known that a traditional career path just isn't for me. Like, I'm totally unemployable, I'm not going to lie. And so I guess maybe I did have it in my mind a little bit, but I didn't see how,
Yeah.
I think I always maybe thought of it as like a road to a book, or I can't even really remember thinking back, but yeah.
Well, it was just a case of experimenting in those sort of days, totally. And sort of, I think, certainly when I was at school, it was like the one person who was plucked from obscurity to get a book deal. And then suddenly, once it started to become a bit more popular, then there's this sort of, it became a bit more of an even playing field of like everybody could have a go if they fancied it. How did it start like to make money, and how did it start to become a thing? So the old blog definitely didn't. I mean, I think I got a couple of freebies, which was, back then it was like, oh my God. Have I made it?
Yeah, exactly. It was much more of a community back then, though. I will say that, like, people genuinely engaging with each other's blogs, and that doesn't really happen now as much. But yeah, so the new blog is Break the Loop, which I sort of started with my partner when we met 3 years ago. I keep saying it was 2 years. It's actually been 3 years. Just to get that right before he gets mad at me. And it very quickly actually started to make money. I don't know if that's because I'd blogged for so long before that I knew the format. I knew how to make it look professional, and I don't know, maybe that's me being, don't want to sound too, egotistical about it, but I think I really made an effort to sort of brand it well and make it look a certain way. And I also had social media going as well a little bit at that time, so which helped. But yeah, it was quite quick. I would say within a year of it being up, I was making fairly decent money off it. And I guess now it's with 2 or 3 years in, and it's between social media and the blog, it is my main source of income.
That's brilliant. How did you know, because I think this is the thing with a blog, like they always say, like you've got to niche down, or you've got to know kind of what your big plan is or what you talk about. Did you have an idea of where you could take it, or was it from a place of I like this and I'm going to share it in this kind of way?
Yeah, I'm terrible at niching down, and I fully agree. I think it is the way to succeed, and I've got friends of mine who have niched down and they've just skyrocketed, whereas I'm so easily distracted and into lots of different things. Squirrel. So yeah, but I did, we very much started the site to kind of, we wanted to encourage people to live in a different way to the norm, and to maybe in a different way to how society kind of expects you to live. So we sort of had that theme, I guess, but it was very much broad in a lifestyle sense. Maybe that is I guess that's sort of a niche, encouraging people to create a life that they've sort of dreamed of, I guess. But yeah, I'm terrible at niching down, if I'm honest. I need to do it more.
Yeah, but I think that's really, I think for me, when I'm reading something, I really want to have that sense of the person and who they are and what they're all about. Because sometimes I find things, even on Instagram and stuff, that I find it really generic sometimes, that you could just do that thing where you put somebody else's face on the front of somebody else's body, because it's all just much of a muchness, really. And I think, yeah, exactly. And I think I always want to see more of the person. How did that transition move into working with brands, and how have you navigated that landscape?
Oh, that's good. So again, being quite lucky. I've always obviously known how to pitch things to people, and there was a while where I was a freelance model, so I would reach out to studios and photographers and agencies and brands, and so I've always kind of done that. But I would say with blogging and things, actually really to be thankful about this, but they've always reached out to me, and opportunities came to me. And it's not that I didn't put the legwork in, I guess, but I didn't really have to pitch on things at first. I do now, if I have what I think is a good idea or what's something I really want to do, but it did genuinely happen very organically. I think I know I wanted it to happen, but I didn't necessarily chase it beyond making the blog a place that would work for that kind of thing, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happened organically. That sounds really, people are going to be like, oh, yeah, right. But
who does she know? I think sometimes it's sort of, we're taught, aren't we, that everything has to feel like hard work or a struggle or whatever. And I don't find that often. I think if you, I hate this phrase because it's so overused, but if you lean into what you're really good at and trust your instinct and do all those sort of Billy Basic things, you tend to start to find the right people that you're supposed to meet, and you start to open up those conversations. I'm such a firm believer in that.
Totally. No, 100%. And being open to opportunities, but then also, learning to say no to the wrong ones. I think that's a huge one working in this industry. I'm not a trust fund baby. I'm not a rich person by any means, but I think you have to be so wary of not taking on everything, and you just have to be. And I think because it's one wrong move and you'll lose the trust of people, and I'm always so conscious of that. And yeah, maybe I don't wish I wasn't, but I would definitely have more money in the bank if I wasn't. So.
But I always kind of talk about that I'm here for the long game. I'm not here just to, because otherwise, with the acting or whatever, I would have just gone on Big Brother in the early 2000s and, got in a hot tub and got drunk and, being a bit Larry, because that is definitely it's a much easier route. And you close some doors, but you open some others, and but that was just never sort of for me, I guess. How important has it been to surround yourself with other creative women? And how did the process of building Get to Know start?
Oh, totally important. It's everything really, isn't it? Like your support network is everything. As much as I'm somebody who sort of enjoys my own company and I work alone quite well, I think, having those people that are in a similar situation, and also that you can sort of bounce, not just ideas, but, questions about getting paid or working. Because people don't talk about it. And I always try and be really open about this kind of stuff because it only benefits the industry and therefore all of us in it. So having that kind of support network was so important. And also I'm sure everybody's had this. I had like a sort of an older group of friends who I'm still friends with a lot of them, but they very much were not in the blogging social media world and found it very strange and weren't particularly supportive. And also, I had that big lifestyle change where I sort of found health and, all that. And it's really funny to see how that sort of polarized friends, and some really kind of got on board with it and were fine with it and came on, and then other people really didn't. So it feels like a real luxury. It feels something I'm really thankful for now, to have the friends that I do who get what's going on and get what I'm doing.
Because I think also sometimes it doesn't make sense, some of the decisions that people may peep into your life and look at, like, really, you're doing that thing for free? That's weird. Or they just, they sort of don't get the rules of the game, and just those other people going, no, that's right, take the meeting, make that connection, it's something will come from it. There's a lot of sort of underlying rites of passage, I guess, in these creative industries.
Totally, because you can't just jump into, your dream collaborations. It just doesn't work like that.
No, I did say to my parents, Dad, if you were a rock star and Mum, you were a supermodel, then this would have all been so much easier.
For God's sake, you're selfish.
So annoying. What, you're not in the Rolling Stone? Oh, so annoying. But it is. I mean, I'm the same as you. I didn't really come from that creative background of people going, oh, look, don't worry, I'll just phone them on your behalf. Like, everything I've built up until this point has been a whole lot of hustle and a big slice of luck as well.
Totally.
But, so how did it start? How did you know that the two women that you started it with were the ones? And had that been a conversation that you'd been having for a little while?
So, I mean, Adrienne, she's my best friend. We are, sisters. We spend far too much time on the phone every day. And she knew AJ kind of separately to that. I mean, obviously I'd met AJ at events and everything, and we got on, but so me and AJ had kind of spoken about this idea years ago, and we kind of said, wouldn't it be cool if there was like somewhere, just like whether it's in real life or online, a place where women can go and meet and chat and swap skills and swap ideas and team up and all of this kind of stuff. And it kind of like sat with us for a really long while, and we didn't do a whole lot about it. And we did actually start something with a group of friends of ours, who are still, best friends of ours. But we all sort of had everyone was launching their own businesses, and there was 5 of us as well. And I think it just didn't work because there was, too many cooks and all of that. And sort of after that happened, we kind of like went back to the drawing board and we were like, we still really want to make this happen. And we were running a marathon that year, London Marathon, me, Adrienne and AJ. And so that was kind of where we were like, well, let's try this as a 3. And I think we really, we all bring something so different to the table. Like our personalities are so different, and it's working really well so far, which is cool.
And where do you want to take it? I guess what are you finding that women are missing as they navigate this this landscape?
Yeah. So, I mean, to be 100% honest, we're still figuring that out, and that's I'm not going to tell you otherwise. I think there's obviously a few different communities like this out there. I know there's things like the Step Up Club and the Working Women's Club, and we really want to aim what we do at the beginner. Like, we want people who are scared to take that first step feel supported and kind of encouraged. So we're kind of trying to steer it from that angle, as opposed to we do want to offer resources and help, but I don't want it to just become sort of an encouraging thing, but we do really want to support women through that first step. But yeah, we've kind of been taking a bit of a break on it to work on all of our own things the past month or two. It's been a bit quiet, and we're planning on sort of coming back in September, sort of back to school style. But yeah, there's kind of so many things that we can do with it, and we really do need to narrow it down, because we kind of get in a room and we throw ideas around, and before you know it, you've got like 30 things written down on the list.
No, I totally know, absolutely. I think there is this thing sometimes where, yeah, you're right about this beginners, because I remember when I was sort of launching my coaching business in 2012, I go to all these events where female entrepreneurs were talking about what they've done and how they built their $1 million brand or something.
$3 billion.
And I would like come out of there like, yeah, definitely, I'm going to do the same. And then I'm like, but I don't know what the first thing is. And I think I just remember getting so overwhelmed, and there was so much out there that I felt like I almost had to take all the classes before I eat. Like, I remember like buying some weird LinkedIn masterclass, and I was like, why have I bought this? But I'd just been sucked into the marketing, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you become paralyzed. I mean, I know I do this when there's so many options out there, and it can literally be what we maybe find simple, or what is simple to us, or what is an experience we've got our head around, really isn't that clear to some other people. And I just think it's kind of not overlooking that fact, and just starting from the basics, and like giving people that first step,
because I think it's also as well, that's when all your mindset and your limiting beliefs and everything is coming out to play, and you're just going, oh my God, I'm never going to get there.
I don't have an education in this. Who am I to talk about this?
Exactly. Self-doubt, imposter syndrome. Yeah. All those jackasses are right there playing. Yeah. How have you sort of navigated this world of social media and putting yourself out there as you've got, your brand's got bigger and your profile's got bigger? How is that? What does that look like? I try to be very honest. I try not to kind of show too much of the highlight reels, although I'm tempted to look at my account and see if I actually am. But I do, on the flip side to that, I do tend to sort of disappear a bit if things aren't so good, which... Yeah. It's kind of just human nature, and I think actually if I fought that and just shared everything through it, would that be doing it just because I felt like I had to, or I don't know. So it's constantly changing, and my views on it constantly change, and I think there is a limit to what I will share on social media, as much as I want to be honest. I don't know, how do you feel about that? Yeah, I feel like there is some stuff that I'm very open to talking about and having a discussion, but also there are some elements, especially like about my relationship, or like I don't want to talk about sex particularly, even though the song tries to tell you otherwise. But like I didn't feel like I needed to share my birth story, or like the picture of me in, having a cesarean. Like there's just some stuff that just doesn't feel like a fit. And I think there's something about that permanence of social media or putting it online, is that you're always traceable. And for having an offline conversation, sometimes there's people, those moments where you meet someone and you never met them before, but yet you're sitting.
How was your holiday?
Yeah, exactly. How's your holiday? Oh, your C-section looked lovely.
How was your scar doing?
Yeah, it looked cracking.
You've got to really know what you feel comfortable with, and you can't just do it this is the thing, you can't just share things to get likes or to grow.
No, and I always feel like I'm very intuitive and have to trust my instinct, and my body will like tell me if I'm doing something that just doesn't feel good. It will be a very instant reaction of like, oh, what was this? And I was saying the other day that I'd done a big purge of my website and the content on there, and
for a few days afterwards, my skin was awful. Like, it just came out in all these like rashes and spots. And it was almost like my body going, oh, thank God you got rid of that blog post on that. It was terrible. It doesn't represent you at all.
God, I'm sure there's plenty online that I probably need to go and compare.
Yeah, exactly. But I think, it's so personal choice, isn't it? You've got to go with what feels good and know what your own boundaries are.
Because it's hard as well, because, you know, the industry is essentially a popularity contest. And I think you share a moment that is, you know, really meaningful to you, such as your birth story, or I don't know, something you can very quickly tie in meaningful experiences in your life with the sort of popularity rating of, you know, the world. And I just think it's such a strange. I love social media. It's given me so much, but I'm hyper aware of that, and I'm also hyper aware that I don't own it. You know, I don't own my following. If Instagram suddenly disappeared tomorrow, it has to be more than that.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm sort of big on email lists. I'm really, really trying. This year is the big push to build email lists.
Give me your email. Everybody get on Hayley's site and give them your email. Yeah.
No, it's terrible, and I know I need to be more consistent with it, but it's definitely a big thing this time. And you may find this as well, but you know, from working in sort of an industry such as modelling, and that is essentially a popularity contest, and now working in social media, it's sort of just really highlighted to me this past year that as much as I love it and I'm grateful for all the opportunities it's given me, like, there has to be more.
And it has to be like, not everything is supposed to be public in our lives. And you know, I always look at those vloggers who sort of set up the camera and then do the fake, like, oh, I just woke up, I'm turning off my alarm. And for me, I don't need to recreate that. It's hard enough trying to get out of the house in the morning
anyway. No, that's just not.
No, it's not the vibe. Have there been any like business tools or stuff or resources that you've used to kind of help you progress and accelerate what you're building?
Podcasts for sure. I do listen to a lot of podcasts. I loved the episode that you did with Lucy Sheridan, by the way. She's such a babe.
Oh, she really is. She's great.
She's awesome. But yes, I do listen to a lot of podcasts. I think honestly the things that have helped my business grow are all, I kind of switch between being very impulsive and overthinking things, which then, you know, give me the whole failure to launch syndrome.
Yes.
But actually those moments of being impulsive and really just going for whatever I believe in, I think that sort of helped me progress along the way, if you know what I mean. But it's all been very much sort of me just going, sod it, I'm doing that because I want to, and then figuring it out along the way. And like, I know, you know, I kind of everything I know is from Google and podcasts and books, and very much me figuring it out as I go along. But podcasts, books, what else?
Well, it was a different time, wasn't it, when we were at school? You know, it wasn't. When I was talking to Hannah Feldman a few episodes back, we didn't have that growth mindset. It was this, you know, they were looking at what box to slot you in: the accountant, the estate agent, the doctor, you know, whatever it might be.
Yeah, totally.
Thank God I didn't become an estate agent. I mean, I feel like I would have had like one of those shiny folders that, hi guys, here we go. Do you want to get into
I really wanted to be a vet. I'm too much of a softie. I would end up with all of the strays and waste, and I wouldn't be able to put any animals down, and I'd be a terrible vet. So.
Yeah, look what I got today. You've got a cow, a donkey, or something. Yeah, I would love to be in the police. I had a moment of like, maybe I need to be in the police, and then I was just like, oh no, because I don't want to go round to somebody's flat and find somebody like half dead after they've been beaten up. It's just, it's not my vibe at all. But I've got one final question, which is, where would you like to be in 5 years?
Ooh, okay. So I really, really like to be. I kind of really want to make the switch over this next year from being a freelancer to a business owner. And I know some people probably don't see the difference in that, but for me, it's sort of making a switch to being able to scale what I offer, so services and products. So I really want to make that switch. So in 5 years, I guess, I see myself splitting my time, so half the year in one place, half the year in another, and able to work where I am, but also having a small team of people who work with me.
Ooh, sounds great.
This is a really hard question for someone like me because I'm so impulsive and I change my mind so often. But yeah, I think thinking of sort of lifestyle that I want, I don't want to, I don't really believe in the constant hustle. I don't think it's necessary for success. I think you can work smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
I'm the first person to say that. I don't know who actually coined that term, but yeah. So I kind of lifestyle how I want my lifestyle to look, and then sort of work back from there. But yeah, badass business owner. That's where I'm headed.
Ooh, that's so good. And if people want to find out more about you and follow along and see that transition live from your house, where should they go?
So if you head to www.breaktheloop.net, I'm launching a series of products on there soon. So they're going to be website and blog templates. The kind of really cool thing about them is that they're sort of like custom websites, but obviously at a fraction of the price, and you can customize them without using any code, which is just the dream. So yes, I'm working on creating those at the minute, and they'll be launched on breaktheloop.net soon, probably in the next month or so. Just
exciting.
And you can also find me on social media. So Instagram, it's Hayley Jane Warnes. Twitter, it's Hayley J Warnes. So yeah, that's it.
Amazing. Well, I've loved chatting, and again, it's that thing of just seeing people online doing what they want to do and figuring it out. For me, it's so inspiring. I always just get so much from those sort of stories, rather than the people who are stepping off their private jet, because I know that even if I had a private jet, I would be one of those people crawling on their hands and knees looking for my son's fire engine that he'd left on there, and the staff would be like, can you get off now, because we've now got to take P. Diddy back or something. So yeah, but I've loved it. Thank you so much. See you soon.
Thank you so much for having me.
Bye.
Thanks so much for listening to today's episode. If you haven't already, feel free to rate, review, and subscribe for all the brand new episodes. If you want to go deeper with my support, check out my freebies house and unlock the rooms you choose. nickyraby.com/freebies house. I also have workshops, programs, and one-on-one bespoke offerings. For prices, availability, or just to have a chat with me, go to nickyraby.com. Thank you, as always, for spending some time with me and my guests, and I'll see you next time.